The most immediate and devastating consequence of Earth's rotation suddenly stopping is rooted in a fundamental law of physics, Newton's first law of motion. This law, often called the law of inertia, states that an object in motion stays in motion with the same speed and in the same direction unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. When the solid Earth abruptly stops, everything on its surface that is not rigidly anchored to the bedrock continues to move eastward at the speed it was previously traveling. At the equator, this means everything would suddenly be moving sideways at over 1,600 km per hour relative to the now stationary ground. This includes buildings, trees, vehicles, animals, and people. They would all be violently flung eastward. The result would be catastrophic destruction on an unprecedented scale across the entire globe, particularly in regions closer to the equator where the rotational speed is highest. Buildings would not just collapse, they would be instantly sheared from their foundations and hurled sideways, disintegrating into massive debris fields. Trees would be ripped from the ground, their roots no match for the immense inertial forces, and become deadly projectiles. The landscape would be scoured clean by the sheer force of everything moving relative to the stationary ground. Imagine the kinetic energy involved. A building weighing thousands of tons, suddenly moving at over 1,600 km per hour, possesses an incredible amount of energy. When this moving mass collides with the stationary ground or other objects, that energy is released in a cataclysmic impact. The ground itself would experience immense stress. While bedrock is anchored, the sudden deceleration would likely cause massive earthquakes and fracturing of the crust. Anything not directly fused to the planet's core would be subject to these inertial forces. This initial phase, lasting mere seconds, would transform the surface of the Earth into a chaotic, deadly environment. The sheer speed ensures that survival in the open would be impossible. Being inside a structure would offer little protection as the structure itself is torn apart. The debris generated would be flung across vast distances, creating secondary impacts and further destruction. This immediate impact is a direct consequence of the energy stored in the planet's rotation being suddenly and violently dissipated. It highlights how our everyday experience of stability is entirely dependent on the consistent motion of the ground beneath our feet. Without that consistency, the very ground becomes the source of our destruction, or rather, our inertia relative to it does. The scale of this initial devastation is difficult to fully comprehend. It's not just a strong wind or an earthquake, it's the entire world attempting to keep spinning while the ground stops. Every object becomes a projectile, every structure a fragile shell against an invisible, overwhelming force. This immediate inertial effect sets the stage for the subsequent, equally devastating consequences involving the planet's fluid layers, the oceans and the atmosphere.